Across the United States, an old fear is returning. Job losses, income loss, and a loss of faith in the future. And strangely enough, that feeling is very similar to what happened before the Great Depression. A 62-year-old man in Georgia said he applied for 3 months, but didn't receive a single call. A mother in Nevada said she had never seen so many homes in her neighborhood with for sale signs. Those signals are not random. The economy is shifting in a way that leaves older workers behind. Not enough new skills. There is no suitable industry. There's no way out. And as each labor community began to fall into that spiral, we saw something terrifying. There were states becoming the epicenters of the new jobs crisis. In this video, you'll discover 10 states where finding a job has become nearly impossible, along with the underlying causes pushing millions of American families to the brink. If you've ever worried about your future, this is the video you need to watch until the end. California, the technology center of the world, where the largest corporations on the planet are headquartered. But it's also a place with an unemployment rate of about 5.5%, the highest in the United States. To put it into perspective, for every 20 people who walk out of a supermarket in San Jose, at least one is unemployed, and another 3 to 4 are working but not making enough to live on. A paradox that is both sad and bitter. A paradise of opportunity, but opportunity is not for ordinary people. California in 2025 is not the California of memory. The streets of Silicon Valley, once as crowded as ants, are now drivable without the familiar traffic jams. It's not because traffic is better, but because tens of thousands of tech employees have been laid off after multiple rounds of streamlining. AI, automation, cost optimization. It sounds modern, but it's causing many middle-aged people to lose their jobs. Hollywood, once a dream, is now also struggling due to strikes, slow production, and related services shrinking. The suburbs of Los Angeles have areas called shadow towns. The houses are still lit, but inside are families struggling to make ends meet, trying to pay the highest rent in the country. What many people rarely say is that California is not just expensive. It's so expensive that even working full-time feels like being at the bottom. AI is replacing office, administrative, and marketing jobs like vacuuming. Many companies are moving their headquarters to Texas and Florida, saving millions of dollars in taxes. Small businesses couldn't afford the minimum wage plus rent, so they were forced to close, leading to a wave of job losses. Rental prices far exceed the average income, so even with a job, people still have to take on a second or even a third job. Imagine this. A 45-year-old man who has worked in the tech industry for 15 years now has to compete with young people who code as fast as they breathe. His opportunity is no longer the same as before. Many middle-class families are cutting back on their spending. Eating out? Cut. Vacation? Forget it. Some live on food stamps, even though they never thought they would need them before. Many people even began to doubt themselves. Am I outdated? Or have the systems changed too quickly? That's the feeling that's evident in millions of California families living in a growing economy, but not experiencing growth themselves. And if California is unemployed because of the high cost of living and technology moving too fast, the next state, Nevada, is unemployed for a completely different reason. When the neon lights go out, the jobs go out too. Which reason do you think is more frightening? Let's continue to follow along. In Nevada, especially around Las Vegas and Reno, you might encounter a familiar sight. A man working 3 jobs: parking lot attendant in the morning, waiter in the evening, food delivery driver on weekends, but still not making enough at the end of the month to cover his $1,600 apartment rent. Joking aside, it's true. In a place where people come to spend money, the locals struggle to hold on to theirs. The unemployment rate is around 5.3%, consistently among the highest in the country. But the feeling of unemployment in Nevada isn't just on paper, it's in the air. Nevada is not like manufacturing or technology states. It lives off casinos, hotels, entertainment, conferences, and tourism. When the global economy slows down, when people cut back on spending, when tourists stay home due to inflation or worry, seasonal jobs disappear first, tips drop sharply, working hours are cut. So tens of thousands of people are in a situation where they have jobs, but their income isn't enough to live on. A new form of modern unemployment. One thing few people say outright is that Nevada has gone all in on tourism as a gambler betting their entire fortune on a single card. Not many other industries. Not many tech companies. There is no large-scale production. Such an economy only needs a market sneeze to falter. Wages in the service industry are inherently low and easily replaced by self-service machines, delivery robots, and automation systems. Everything beautiful about Las Vegas, the lights, the glamour, only highlights the irony for local residents. They are in the entertainment center of America, yet they live in anxiety every time tips decrease. Older workers who lose their seasonal jobs often don't have the opportunity to return. Middle-aged people have to work 2 to 3 jobs to maintain a minimum standard of living. Young people are leaving because they don't want to live a life of working in the morning and delivering packages at night. Many families live with unstable incomes. Enough today, short tomorrow. Chronic anxiety. The feeling of not being in control of their lives. That's what makes the hearts of many Nevada men weary. People come to Vegas to gamble a few $100s. And the locals? They bet their entire future on weekend visitors. If Nevada lost jobs due to fragile tourism, the next state, Michigan, lost jobs for an even more painful reason. The industry that once built modern America is slowly crumbling before our eyes. Are you ready to step into the heart of industrial America? Michigan, the industrial heart that once made America proud, where the roar of engines once echoed like the oath of a mighty nation. And it's also the place where today, many middle-aged men stand in front of the old factory and wonder, do I still belong here? In Michigan, not only are people leaving, but people are also leaving the state. The unemployment rate in this state is approximately 5.2%. Detroit was once the world's automotive capital, but in recent years, tens of thousands of manufacturing jobs have disappeared. The electric vehicle, EV industry opens up new hope, but it offers far fewer jobs than the traditional engine industry. Young people are leaving the state to seek opportunities in Ohio, Texas, or the Carolinas, places with accelerating economies. What about Michigan? It's slowing down, and the people feel that more clearly than any statistical figures. What people rarely say at press conferences is that Michigan didn't lose because they were weak. Michigan lost because the world changed too quickly. Robotizing the production line led to the replacement of worker positions that once supported the entire town in just one season. Car manufacturers are shifting some production to other countries to reduce costs. EVs are the future, but they don't require as much labor as gasoline engines. Affordable housing, what was supposed to be a plus, turned into a reminder that the person is not here as much as before. When a town loses its factory, everything else falls apart too. Shops, schools, hospitals. Many middle-aged people in Michigan have worked at the same factory for 20-30 years. Suddenly, they were told that their skills were no longer relevant. It's not just about losing your job. That's losing your identity, losing the familiar rhythm of life. Many families are forced to tighten their belts and argue over just a few small bills. Many communities that were once strong and united are now silent and desolate. These things rarely appear in economic reports, but they are present in every kitchen, every meal, and every glance of a Michigan man. Some people say Detroit is transforming. It's just that no one knows exactly what it's transforming into. If Michigan is the story of a great industry in decline, then Ohio is the story of a state with enough potential, enough people, enough land, but not enough businesses to create long-term jobs. Let's go there and listen to their stories. Leaving Michigan, we head south to Ohio, a state that many call the heart of America. But perhaps this heart is beating one beat slower than the rest. Ohio's unemployment rate is around 4.9%, not the highest number, but not comfortable either. Simply put, for every 20 people gathered at a bar in Cleveland to watch football, at least one is unemployed, and the other 6 to 7 are working jobs that don't align with their dreams, expertise, or the life path they once envisioned. Ohio is the kind of state that's not too rich, not too poor, but just difficult enough to make workers sigh. For decades, Ohio lived off steel, coal, agriculture, and mechanical manufacturing. Today, the steel plant is shrinking. Agriculture is losing because of high input costs. The manufacturing industry is not what it used to be. New jobs are emerging. Yes, but they are mainly in the fields of warehousing and logistics. This industry sounds like it has a lot of jobs, but the pay is low, unstable, and easily replaced by robots or automation systems. And what about young people? Many people left Ohio and went straight to Pittsburgh, Chicago, Columbus, or Texas, where there are technology and finance industries and higher salary opportunities. Ohio is being slowly drained of its workforce. Perhaps Ohio didn't lose because its people are lazy, and it lost because the rules of the game changed and the state couldn't adapt in time. Globalization makes it difficult for the manufacturing sector to compete with cheap imports. Technology education is not keeping pace with the shift of the new economy. FDI attraction policies are not as appealing as those of accelerating southern states like Texas, Tennessee, and Georgia. Additionally, outdated infrastructure and uncompetitive corporate taxes make Ohio a less desirable investment option. Ohio used to be a place where a factory worker could support an entire family. Now it's difficult. It's very difficult. Many middle-class families slide downhill without realizing it until they have to cancel vacations, sell their cars, or move back in with relatives. Financial stress is creeping into every family. Couples are arguing more. Workers in their 40s are stuck between being too old to start over and too young to give up. The rate of depression is increasing, but few dare to admit it. It's not just an economic story. It's a matter of honor. And if Michigan loses because its industry is too big to collapse slowly, Ohio lost because its industry was too small to break through. What about Kentucky? Kentucky lost because it kept believing that the coal industry would return to its former glory. And that's the saddest part of the story. Let's continue. Kentucky is not the poorest state, but it's the most stuck state. Stuck in the memories of the golden age. Stuck in the belief that coal will return, like someone forever waiting for a train that left the station decades ago. An unemployment rate of around 4.9%. That sounds normal. But if you walk into a closed mining town, you'll understand. 4.9% is just a number, and despair is human. Many coal mines have closed or are only operating at a reduced capacity. Towns once bustling with miners are now sleepy towns. The bars are empty. The grocery store closes early. The houses are being sold at unbelievably low prices. New job? Yes. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't stable enough. And it wasn't attractive enough to keep young people from leaving. The rest is usually low-wage retail, seasonal services, or gig work, none of which is enough to support a family of 4 like it was for their parents. Kentucky is not prepared for the new world. The economy has been overly dependent on coal for decades. The transition to clean energy is slow and even controversial. Vocational schools and technology training centers lack the capacity to upgrade workers' skills. And most importantly, no industry is strong enough to replace coal. When the main pillar fell, the state's entire economic house trembled. For many Kentuckians, being a miner is not just a job. That's a source of pride. It's a family legacy. It's a story passed down from generation to generation. And yet, now they have to stand and look at the old rusty coal mine as a cold reminder. Your time is over. That feeling not only made them unemployed, it made them lose their direction and self-worth. Young people are leaving. Those who stayed behind no longer see a future. A vortex that everyone sees, but no one knows where to apply the brakes. In Kentucky, coal mining museums sometimes even function better than actual coal mining. If Kentucky is stuck in the past, Illinois is stuck in a different kind of tragedy. High taxes, high cost of living, businesses leaving, and the unemployed staying. Let's continue. There's still a lot to say about what's ahead. Illinois has an unemployment rate of approximately 4.4%. It doesn't sound too bad, but imagine walking into a family gathering in Chicago. If there are 20 people in the room, at least one will be unemployed, and several others will be working so many jobs that they won't even know what day it is anymore. In particular, the unemployment rate among the black community in Chicago is among the highest in the country. A number that sounds far-fetched, but in reality, it's right in the neighborhood, in every family's shops and churches. Chicago has everything: skyscrapers, a complex transportation system, and a rich culture. But in parallel, large businesses are leaving one after another due to high operating costs. Violence and instability have caused many people with the means to move to other states. Those who stay are often the most vulnerable and the hardest to find work. The poorer you are, the harder it is for you in Chicago. That loop is scarier than any unemployment figure. Illinois is not short of talented people. There's no shortage of ideas either. But there are three things that stifle job creation: high corporate and property taxes. Many businesses say it outright. I could save millions of dollars if I moved to Texas or Florida. And they really moved. Infrastructure is degraded. Old infrastructure, high operating costs, expensive maintenance. Businesses must consider this. All of this combined makes Illinois a place where workers are leaving their jobs and businesses are leaving. Besides, the cost of living in Illinois is so high that a full-time worker sometimes still needs a second job. There are families in their 40s and 50s who have to work 2 to 3 jobs just to keep the house they live in. Many middle-aged people in Chicago are facing a double pressure, competing with cheap immigrant labor, competing with gig workers, and competing with robots in retail and service industries. The more they tried, the more exhausted they became. It's not because they're weak, but because the system is too heavy for them to bear anymore. Some people say, "Welcome to Illinois, where you work 60 hours a week to pay taxes." It sounds funny, but it's true. Illinois shows that a big city doesn't necessarily mean more opportunities. And in the West, Oregon is the next example. Beautiful, peaceful, but a place where many degree holders still have to do gig work to make ends meet. Let's continue with the story there. In Oregon, you can order a hot pizza from DoorDash and the delivery person steps out of a beat-up car, but they have a bachelor's degree in communications or even a master's in psychology. He smiled and thanked you for the $5 tip. You seem a little surprised. But for many young people in Oregon, this is the new reality. Study more, work less. High education, low salary. The unemployment rate in Oregon is around 5.0%, not too high, but also not easy to live with. What's more noteworthy is the rate of hidden unemployment. People with university degrees are working in jobs that don't require a university degree. Many university graduates end up in gig work, delivering food, driving for ride-sharing services, working part-time in stores, or taking hourly online jobs. Having a degree but not having a real job having knowledge but no opportunity. It's the largest crack in the heart of Oregon. Oregon has many good universities. Right. But the problem is, education is overtraining. The market can't absorb it. The fields of communication, psychology, sociology, and art have too many students but too few companies hiring. The cost of living in Portland and Eugene is rising like gas prices did in 2008. Rent, food, and insurance are increasing faster than income. Many people with stable incomes still live as if they are climbing a slippery rock face. The economy relies on technology and exports. Global volatility, tech and logistics industries slowing down, jobs disappearing. Results. Despite studying for 4, 6, or 8 years, many people still have to start over from a very small number. Young people in Oregon are losing faith in the American dream. They followed their parents' advice. Study hard and you'll have a future. But the future delivered it to them in the form of an overwhelming rent bill. Parents feel helpless. They did everything right. They invested in their children. But the system doesn't create enough demand for the number of degrees that are increasing every year. Not unemployed. But it's disappointing. Many people say, Oregon is too beautiful to leave, but also too expensive to live in. If Oregon is the story of studying hard and still being poor, then New Jersey is the story of earning a lot and still being poor. A more luxurious type of poverty, but no less stressful. Let's continue. New Jersey is waiting. New Jersey, a wealthy, bustling state located right next to the economic hub of New York. But the irony here is even stronger than a morning New Jersey coffee. You can earn $70,000 a year and still feel poor. Many out-of-state people look at New Jersey and think, the salaries are so high, it must be a great place to live. But if you ask the people who actually live in Newark, Jersey City, or Hoboken, they'll let out a laugh. The bitter laugh of someone who's been through it. Try paying rent, taxes, and insurance here, and then you'll see. New Jersey has an unemployment rate of about 5.0%. Not too high, but the feeling of unemployment is widespread. Why? Because here you have a job, but at the same time you also have the highest rent in the United States, the highest property tax in the country, the cost of car insurance, home insurance, health insurance, etc. is so high that many people spend their entire evenings just calculating whether they can make it through the month. The irony is, many middle-class families with stable jobs in New Jersey had to move to Pennsylvania to live, and then commute across state lines every morning like reluctant nomads. There are 3 main reasons why New Jersey is a high-paying but empty-pocket region. First is the heavy reliance on New York. As New York slowed down and finance, banking, and real estate cooled, New Jersey was affected. Property taxes and fixed costs are too high. The familiar saying is, salary up 10%, tax up 12%, and that's a wash. Adding to that is the housing crisis. Low supply and high demand are causing house prices to skyrocket. A regular house can be worth the entire fortune of a family that has worked hard for 20 years. People from New Jersey often have 2 feelings: doing more, keeping less. The whole family was caught up in financial challenges. The couple discussed cutting back on everything unnecessary. Children don't dare to dream of owning their own homes. The elderly are worried about rising health insurance prices. Many families have steady jobs, but they're always afraid deep down. An unexpected bill could throw the whole family into risk. Not poor in the traditional sense, but it's a kind of spiritual poverty, living in anxiety despite having an income. They say, New Jersey, where you work in New York, but live like you're in California. Equally expensive, equal pressure. The only difference is, the weather is colder. New Jersey is the story of people who earn a lot but are still poor. West Virginia, on the other hand, is a completely different story. Poor even when trying their hardest. A more stark, sad, and most clearly reflecting the shadow of the Second Great Depression 2.0. Let's keep going. There's a saying the locals here often use: we're unemployed, we're angry, but somewhere, someone is still saying the economy is strong. It's both funny and truly sad. West Virginia has an unemployment rate of approximately 5.0%, but the more concerning figure is the lowest labor force participation rate in the country. This means not only is there a lack of jobs, but many people have even stopped looking for work. Aging population. Young people pack their bags and leave, heading to Ohio, Pennsylvania, or even further because there's no clear future here. When the young people are all gone, new jobs don't appear. When there's no work, young people keep moving. A decades-long cycle. West Virginia once lived off coal. Once a golden age, the whole town lived off a coal mine. But as the industry declined, everything else collapsed along with it. When industry is lost, the community disappears with it. The school closed classes because there weren't enough students. The healthcare system is shrinking due to insufficient funding. Investors are not enthusiastic because they don't see any growth momentum. No one is wrong, but no one is strong enough to pull this state out of the past. West Virginia is not only poor in money, it's poor in opportunities, poor in hope. Many families live on welfare. Many towns have a sense of being forgotten. The person who was once accustomed to strength now sits on the doorstep, looking down the empty street and wondering, where do I go? Or have we been left behind by the times? A question that sounded simple, but was as heavy as the Appalachian Mountains before them. In West Virginia, you can buy an entire house for the price of a room in New Jersey. The only downside is there's no work to pay the electricity bill. A funny but painful saying. America won't collapse overnight, but every state, every town, every family is feeling the familiar tremors of a time our grandparents once called the Great Depression. Perhaps this isn't the Great Depression 2.0 according to the book, but it's certainly a new form of unease. Quiet, widespread, and touching all of us in some way. What about you? Which state are you living in? Are you or a family member having difficulty finding a job that pays enough to live on? What do you think is the biggest cause? Technology, policy, or has the economy changed too quickly? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. I always read and want to hear your stories directly from you. If you find this video helpful, don't hesitate to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future analyses. The video content is based on publicly available data and independent analysis. The video is not intended to attack individuals, organizations, or governments, and is not financial, employment, or political advice. All opinions are for reference only and encourage viewers to self-assess and learn more. Thank you for staying with me until the end. See you in the next video.